So again, if you're just joining in, this is Giulio Sciorio. I am a professional photographer that specializes in what's called hybrid photography. That is where we blend still motion and sound together in various ways, and we're doing it with the perspective of the photographer. To me, it's been an amazing experience. It's changed my life and how I operate as an artist. Oops, there we go. And I'm going to share with you guys, we only have an hour, so I got to go kind of quick, but I'm going to share with you some awesome things that I've learned over the years. And we're going to be using the Creative Cloud app with Flixel. So I want to thank everybody for joining me. And I just want to let you know that if you are interested in purchasing Flixel Cinemagraph Pro, there is a 10% off code, and I'm going to give that to you right now, and that is called small camera, all one word. So if you're in the chat, it is called small camera. Good. Okay, looks like everyone can hear me. Excellent. Okay, so now, thank you for bearing with me, by the way. This is my first time using GoToWebinar. I'm usually a Google Hangouts kind of guy, but I can see that people are hearing me, and we are rocking. All right, great. So, quick overview of what we're going to do. I'm going to show you guys on how to manage your stills and video with Lightroom, and then how to use Photoshop to make some basic adjustments in tonality and maybe even cropping some video if necessary. We're going to use Flixel to animate, and then if time allows, we're going to use Premiere Pro to assemble the various cinemagraphs you made in Cinemagraph Pro into a little promo video. So here's one that I made. I'm going to go ahead and close that out. Here's another one that I made. This is for Mitch Stone Essentials. Very cool project I had the pleasure of working on with actually one of the founders of Flixel. These are videos playing, and I'll explain why I'm playing these later on. But let's take a look. And here's actually another one. I'm just going to set this to loop. You can see how that one's working. That's a fun one. It's actually much more simple than it looks. But here is the video itself, and this will be live on Vimeo by the time we are done with our webinar here. I'm just going to play this real quick for you. Cool. So that is a little promo video I made from assembling various animated portraits using Flixel Cinemagraph Pro. That is one of the many ways that you can use the application. It is not just for posting online, but it's such an amazing app, Flixel Cinemagraph Pro. And the way I think of Flixel Cinemagraph Pro with Creative Cloud, it's kind of like those cool buddy movies. Where it's like, was it Starsky and Hutch, or, even, Peanut Butter and Jelly? They're all good on their own, but together they work out really well. I'm actually opening my Finder here. I'm going to launch the catalog in Lightroom, and everything in this catalog is exactly how I shot it. I didn't trim anything down special for this webinar. I really want everybody to see how we're shooting this work. Now you can see there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff here. That is for a video that we did. It's actually available now on the Flixel site. You can learn how I did that. I'm just going to shrink this a little bit so I can see what's going on. There we go. Now I can see it a little easier. And oops. but as a free video, that'll kind of give you an idea, just the basics and how to shoot this stuff, but we're going to focus mainly on the post-production. So first thing I do is I import everything, video and still, into Cinemagraph Pro. I am actually going to go and just kind of show you guys some rated pieces here. So we can see we have mostly video. There's some stills mixed in here as well. Here's one we never actually used. Maybe we'll do this one, and this will be one of the ones that we never posted. This will be an unreleased piece. But I use Cinemagraph Pro, or excuse me, Lightroom here to manage all my data, my stills and my video. Lightroom is okay at managing still and video. It's not the best. I hope that in the future Lightroom will get better. Sorry. So what I did is I filtered, all my images, the ones that I kind of starred 1, 2, 3, or 4, or made a select. There's a still image. But the videos I shot for this particular one were actually horizontal. So one of the things we'll show here shortly is how to make a vertical animated portrait using Creative Cloud. This is one of the things that, I only got an hour, but man, I really wish I had so much more time because it's a ton of fun to show. Here's another still. So you can see we're mixing stills. It looks like that is a RAW. There's your JPEG. I shoot both at the same time. Do you see the difference in color? RAW and JPEG. There's my RAW. There's my JPEG. My JPEG will share the same color as the video. There's a video that I shot. There's a JPEG. They have the same essence, the same color. And one of the points I want to get across, one of the most important things you can remember is that when making animated portraits and doing your post-production is to really shoot this stuff like a photographer. The images are rooted in photography. This is, we have a beautiful still here, can make high-res prints, and we have our video as well. And from here in Lightroom, we can play. Okay, so we can see what we're getting here. So Arbany here is sitting really still. Very important when you have your subject when you're shooting is that you have them be as still as possible. You want to make sure that they're going to be still, otherwise you can get some drift. So if she's moving all over the place, it's going to be really hard to isolate this portion. And you can see that she's moving a little bit, but that is okay. We can work with that. I think that since I never made this one, it'll be fun to make this into one. So I'm going to flag that as a pick. And where's that other one? Okay, that one I'm going to make as a pick as well. Let's see here. Okay, here's a vertical. I don't even know if this one's going to work, but we're going to try it anyways. Here's that fun one of Mitch Stone. That is an actual minute long. We're going to pick this one. So, once you go through and you get all your picks, you can see there's some black and white ones. We shot in black and white. Shot some stills in color. Really pretty. We did another vertical one. Some of these images, like this one here, okay, that's vertical video. Although we shot it vertically, this is how it actually came out. Okay, because Lightroom is not able to rotate video. So what I had to do is basically bring in the video into Photoshop, rotate it, and then basically re-render it out. And we'll get into that here in a moment. So I'm going to flag that one as well. Let's see quickly what we have flagged here. Now, if I do all my flagged images here, this is going to flag stills and video. So for instance, there's a still, there's a video. Oops, kind of just saw it there. It kind of moved a little fast there for us. So there's my video, there's my still. But if we want to see just the videos, Lightroom comes with a collection built in called video files. And from here, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to filter these again to the flagged ones. Okay, great. So here's some of the images I'm going to work with. Let's start off with a vertical one. I can click on here in Lightroom. We can see in the bottom we've got our timeline. Okay, but what I need to do before I really, unless I want to tilt my head to the side or rotate my screen, which I'm certainly not going to do, I'll need to rotate this vertically just so I can get a better idea. And it's going to be the same for this one, which we already have the end result right there. And maybe one of these other ones as well. So here's one. And then we can see that's our finished image right there. So there's a vertical video. Oops. And that's the original capture, the horizontal video. Let's do, why don't we just try this one? So how I usually bring this into Photoshop, there's a variety of ways. I'm just going to show you guys how I do it. I usually right click, or I believe it's control click with Apple. And I'm going to show in Finder. Okay. And there is our file right there. You can see that I have, there's my enhanced one that we were looking at just a moment ago. That one's already vertical. We need to make this guy vertical. If I double click on it, again, there's the actual file. This is the video. Now, when I shot this, I had the camera on the tripod. I just turned the camera vertically, just like I would normally shoot a still. I was lighting this with LED lights. You know, the difference is instead of hitting the still capture button, I hit the video button. Okay, great. So we see that she's moving. From here, I'm going to open this up into Photoshop, okay? So a variety of ways to do that. Let me just close this window out and kind of clean this up, minimize that because we're going to use some music. So I'm just going to drag and drop right into Photoshop. Give it a moment, it'll open up. So Photoshop, in Photoshop we can see that in the bottom of the screen here, I got my timeline. Let me kind of make that a little bigger. Kind of adjust that screen and make it easier for me to see. Okay, so we got our timeline here along the bottom. Just like we normally would if we were animating GIFs, or anything like that. To see your timeline, you go to Window, Timeline. Without it, if you're seeing this, let me turn off my rulers. If we're seeing this, we got to enable our timeline. Otherwise, it just looks like a JPEG. Boom, timeline. And now in a timeline, we could scrub. We could play video. We could trim. We could do all sorts of things in here. Okay, but that's for, I mean, if we can really dig in, we're going to not dig in too much. There's two things I want to do here. I want to rotate this video, make it vertical. And then I think what I may do is maybe bring the darks up a little bit. I may do that. And then what we'll need to do is render it out vertically. And then from there, we can take it into Cinemagraph Pro. So let's, we're going to go to Image and Image Rotation, just like you would with the still. And we're going to do 90 degrees counterclockwise. So here it's saying transforming a video layer requires converting it to a smart object. Okay, let's get smart. Boom, there it is. Vertical video, yo. What up? Easy. Look at that. I'm going to hit Apple 0 so I can see the screen a little more, or the capture a little more. You can see that Arbany is kind of looking around. Now this video, we only need a few seconds of good video. You can see a little BTS action there. We only need a few seconds of her actually, you can see I moved the camera a little bit because we're just making a loop. And that's the beauty of working with these types of files, is we're not really using a ton of data. Okay, so that is basically, that's how you flip your video, make it vertical. Let's go back and kind of get a, okay, let's see. Okay, so there we go. I'm kind of scrubbing by clicking and dragging this right here. Now, what if I want to lighten this up? I'll zoom in a little bit, so maybe it'll be easier to see. So just like you would with a photograph, I'm going to go into my layers, and I'm going to click on an adjustment layer. I'm going to go right into curves. You can see we got a curves layer, and it is over this piece here. And then you could drag, and I mean, you can get as crazy as you want to go. Just going to remove that little point that I put. Essentially, what I want to do is maybe I just want to adjust the darks, or maybe I want to crunch the darks, So I could either kind of guess using the curves with the histogram built in, or I can just click on this little hand. I'm going to find something I want to adjust, say like this dark area here. I'm going to click and hold. And you see what happens is the eyedropper turns to that same hand icon that's right here. Just like in Lightroom, at this point, I can click and hold, and I'm going to drag down. I can make it darker from here. I can make it lighter. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you something advanced, somewhat advanced. I can go a step further, okay, to say I'm going to adjust this. You're only going to want to do this technique that I'm about to show you if you've kind of trimmed down your sweet spot in Photoshop by pulling the edges over. I'm not going to do that, though. I just want to show you the idea. So say, well, just say, for instance, we're going to only use, like, say, this sweet spot here. And we don't need any of this, so we're going to pull this over as well. Guess I could, there we go. So now Photoshop's going to adjust. So we don't need any of that even. We can just use, where is she? I think I may have trimmed a little too much. Let's open it up a little more. Whoop, I definitely trimmed it too much. Let's find out where she is. There she is. Okay, so here, we're still, there we go. Okay, I'm still adjusting. Okay, so we'll just say that's a sweet spot. We need a few frames. We can trim it like so, and we'll trim it like so. Whoops, in Flixel, but which is easier. But anyways, say for instance I did make a curve adjustment, which we could see I did here. See how I darkened it up? I don't want everything to be dark. We have our layer mask, which is built into the curves tool. I can click on that right there. And using a brush, switch to a paintbrush. There we go. And using black, maybe I could can paint out, see the difference. So that's kind of revealing the lighter part underneath. So you can kind of use this technique to dodge and burn on video if you wanted. And then from here, you would go File, Export, Render Video. It's going to take it a moment. And then you come up with this Render Video dialog. I usually leave them in the same folder, okay? It's just so I can re-import into Lightroom. You can see what I do here for my naming convention is I leave the name the same so I know which file the enhanced version is based on, and I'll leave a dash and make enhanced or edit. You know, it's whatever name works for you. So we'll say enhance. All this I usually leave alone. Okay, you can do QuickTime, you know, whatever you want, whatever works good for you. We're pretty good if you use QuickTime or H.264, high quality. You got your presets built in. Again, I usually leave this all at the same size. Leave all this at the same size. Then I'll hit all frames, and I'll hit render, and boom, it'll render out. Okay, I'm going to close this because I don't want us to wait here for it to render. And then we can see what we have here is now a vertical video. Let's then we can open it up into, you can see here is the enhanced version in the Cinemagraph file already, and we can start working on it in Cinemagraph Pro. Okay, so what you would do here is if you wanted to, you would create a new document, and we would select enhanced. We'd import it. Then it's going to ask us where to save it. I would save it in the same folder structure again, so I know what I'm working on, and we can see that I've already done that, and there is the file right there. Since it's already done, I want to click on this. I know this one's a little more advanced than what we normally I normally would show, like one of my workshops right away, but I want to throw it at you anyways. So here we are in Cinemagraph Pro. We're in the trim tool. We can see along here in the bottom, we have our in and out points already chosen. The sweet spot, which is at the in point is 5 seconds and 2 frames, and the out point is 7 seconds and 23 frames. This tells us we roughly have 82 frames of an animated portrait. Not bad, considering all of these frames we have down here are ranging in the thousands for this one shot. On the left side, we have our master frame or our still image. And what I did for that is I exported a still image. So I can hit this and export a still image. I'll bring that into Photoshop, do my enhancements, so maybe like lightening skin or darkening up this area here, and bring that back in. I think I saw one already. So here's my enhanced images. When you export, just a heads up, it exports as a PNG. There's my PNG that I exported, and then I bring that into Photoshop, do my enhancements, and then resave it as the PNG. Let's open that up. I know that's set a PSD, and I'll explain why here in a second. So here is the PNG that I brought in. Okay. Maybe I wanted to darken up some stuff, or I wanted to change the face, whatnot. I could do that. Now, why do I have a PSD here? Because I always save my PSD with all my work on it in case I need to go back to it, or if maybe I'm using a 4K image where the frame of video is roughly 8 or 9 megapixels. Just going to inverse that, and I'm going to quickly paint in the lighter version of the face. We can see the difference here. Maybe it's not obvious enough through the webcast. So I'm going to, okay, so maybe I wanted this to be, a print for video, or if I want to throw it up on Instagram or whatever. I got that. Okay, let me close out of this. So I would save this actually from this point as a PNG, and I would bring that back in, and I would import my still image. When I import, I kind of like to do it like so. Let me show you. So here's the enhanced PNG, and I'm going to bring this in. And what it does is it just navigates the Finder directly to the image without having to kind of navigate through the Finder folder by folder. And I hit import, boom, and it lays it on top, and I'm good to go. From this point, I would go into the mask. And maybe I would mask out her face. Actually, probably not the thing I want to mask out, because what I want to mask out, let me backtrack here, because I want to show this light here moving, right? This light is animating. So from this point, you can see I already made a mask. I can paint it out. And we could see that it's starting to animate. This part here actually is part of the master frame. You see the difference in the lightness? Because that's what I did in post, is I made that darker. Adjust our loop, boom, and we export it as a video file. This is kind of an advanced one. I wanted to throw an advanced one at you right away. I want to show you a more simplified workflow. So I'm going to close this one out. Let's go back into Lightroom. Let's do this one here. Uh-oh, beach ball. Here we go. Okay. So we can see, I'm just going to drag this along. We can see that, what do we got going on in the background? We got some lights. And the model's pretty stable. If you have a model that's standing, I don't know if you notice this in my imagery, but in my model, with my models, if they're standing and the whole body is there, I usually find something like this to lean on. That's going to help her keep her stability. It's going to increase her stability. It's going to keep her core body balanced. You can see here. This is a little more difficult for model, but you see what we did here is we told her to put the heel in that light You need to keep your talent stable. It is imperative. Because if you get drift, I think we got some drift in this one here. Yeah, look at that. They're going on the left, especially. It's going all over the place. This one right here. This could take a long time in post. It could double or triple the length of your post. Let's just do this one. This is a pretty straightforward one. Show and Finder. There it is. Just going to play it just to make sure. Great. Looks good. Going to go into Cinemagraph Pro. New. And again, I'm going to drag and drop this over to the, to the Finder window. And I want to import it. And I'm going to save the same, I'm going to save the Cinemagraph file, Cinemagraph Pro file with the same file name as the original. That way they're nice and organized together. I do not want them to get separated. So now it's going to copy P1020066.mov ... into Flixel Cinemagraph Pro. While that is happening, if there's any questions that I can answer, and while this is importing, I'd be happy to answer those questions for you. Now, one thing I noticed on this, I have the latest version of Cinemagraph Pro, and I will kind of tease you with this feature. Is if you go to File, there's New from Image Sequence. That can do a whole lot of cool stuff. You could shoot a rapid series of frames with your camera, bring them into Lightroom, do your adjustments, render them out, and bring them into Cinemagraph Pro. It is not going to look as good as video because video is nice and smooth, but that is a good option. That is a really good option. And there's other things you can do to make some really cool advanced editing with that. If we have time, I will explain how that would work. Okay, so back to Cinemagraph Pro. Let's make this bigger. There we go. Oh man, doesn't that feel better? Oops. There we go. So quickly looking at this, see, so we got like a little bit of double vision going on here with the Garrett Electronics discriminator. Okay, so the discriminator and the talent is moving. We can see we got a little bit of double vision there. What Cinemagraph Pro is doing, what's really one of the things that's so cool about the software that makes it so such a time savings in post is it's going to show you the master frame, the still image, which is indicated by these purple markers here. It's going to show it laid over the video. And because we're seeing the image start to separate here, that's telling me that we have some drift. We don't want drift. If we want to be able to get a nice clean mask here, okay, we can't have that drift. We need to minimize that. By the way, if you're wondering how I just did that, I have a magic trackpad on my Mac, and I reverse pinched. Look at that. Zoom in, zoom out, just like a iPad. It's awesome. The other option, I believe, is Control or Command plus and minus. That's right. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of try to, there you go. Look at that. Now we have less drift, a little bit less. But did you see what happened? When I moved, when I took my trim and I grabbed and pulled it to the right, Flixel automatically, Cinemagraph Pro, excuse me, automatically lined up and chose a master frame at the beginning of the trimmed area. And that's really, really smart. This way, what I like to do is I may just take and click and drag with this, with my eye bar here, and I can kind of scrub and I can, at my leisure, see maybe what I want for a still frame. Okay, maybe something like around here if I wanted. Or what I could do is see where it starts to split apart the still frame from the underlying video. But I could see from here to here, she is fairly steady and we get a bonus movement. Can you see that right there? We're going to get a blink. And one of the things I love to do with my images is hide loops within loops. Now, technically, Cinemagraph Pro does not allow you to make loops within loops. As you can see here, we have one layer video. And this is where practice and working with your subject can help. I always tell my subjects, hey, if you need a blink, blink. You're a human being, blink. Sometimes I don't want it. Sometimes I want more of a robotic look. But in this case, I wanted her to relax and blink. And the cool thing is, because I don't have to mask out the blink, now because I have the blink in there, I have the option to keep the blink in or to take it out. So here is, I think, where I want, just after she blinks, I may want my video to end right around this area. You can see, yeah, right around here. So what I'm going to do is grab this and, okay, there's our blink. Ooh, with a little bit of movement. Let's see what we got here. Okay. So now I kind of got a general idea of where I want my animated portrait to be. It looks like there may have been a little movement on my end. You can see, I think the whole frame is shaking. So we may not be able to do a whole lot with her moving, but we'll get some light in the background. I'm going to quickly just move over to the mask tool because I want to kind of see how everything moves together, the still frame with the animation, which is the video underlying the master frame. I'm just going to quickly do something to this effect. So that's okay. You want to kind of paint in broad strokes, just kind of get the basic idea down of your image. Okay, we see that this thing's shaking. And it's not that the light itself actually shook. It's that I probably knocked into my tripod or something's had that effect, and we got a little bit of movement. And it's right at the very end. So we'll go back into trim. And we'll kind of just maybe scrub. And look at that. I think it's right around the eye blink. Okay, if I can just, I'm just trying to get the, and now let's go back and check it out. Yeah, we got a little bit of movement. So now I'm going to trim some off the front. Oops, Cinemagraph Pro will reset the master frame. Looks like it's not, so I'm going to do it for it. And we'll go back into mask. Let's see what's happening here. We got a little bit of movement, not much. Not much. It's pretty straightforward. So I kind of got a rough idea going here of the mask. Just to see how this measures up with the eye, let's zoom in and quickly. You can see you're getting a little bit of a dancing eyeball right there. So if I want to keep that, there's a couple ways to get around that using the loop adjustment tool, which is up here. What I want to do now, though, is I just want to kind of clean up the mask. We can see that there's some obvious areas here that need to be cleaned up. So again, I'm just going to reverse pinch to zoom in. Give us a good idea here. Let's see. I love the live masking of Cinemagraph Pro. I mean, there's nothing else like this on the market. Yes, to those on the internet, you can do this process in Creative Cloud entirely. And I was doing that in 2009 when I started making animated portraits. And that workflow is very long. Oops. It's a very long workflow. So yes, it can be done, but it's, do you want to make it fun and do you want to get it done right, or do you want to spend forever in Creative Cloud? And then on top of that, you get the amazing hosting built into Cinemagraph Pro. Now, I'm not telling you this. I'm trying to sell you the software. You can use whatever you want. I'm telling you this because I believe in the product. This is really, when I saw this product, got a tear in my eye. I was like, this is what I've been waiting for. I feel like they designed this for me. Okay, so now, anyways, got a little funny going on here. Let's see. I think what I want to do is I'm going to change the hardness of the brush. I want it to be a little softer. And I'm going to take the opacity down. You can see I'm doing this here on the right side. And what I want to do is I just kind of want to gently feather this area. I'm going to feather it And I'm going to zoom out. Let's see. You can see that there's some light action going on here. So probably what I'll do is paint in a little hair. And now I'm going to take the opacity and change this even more. I just want to just gently fill that in. This is where the art comes into play. See, there's a little bit of movement. So what I could do, if this is bothering me, you can see there's a little bit of drift before she blinks. You can see that. If that's bothering me, then what I'll do is I could either erase it or I could just live with it. I think for this, I'll just kind of live with it. But I'm going to make some further adjustments in my loop tool just to see what's going on here. Okay, so, okay. Examining our looping tool, we have some options here on the right side of Cinemagraph Pro. We have two different kinds of loops. We've got a bounce and a repeat. This nice little animated timeline here gives us a visual representation of what's happening with the video. And you can even watch the playhead move. It's moving quite quickly. So with the repeat, the video plays from left to right and then starts back over to left again. Bounce, as the name implies, is going to play the video from left to right and right to left. We're kind of getting a little double blink, right? So I think what I'm going to do is go back. If I wanted to keep it on bounce, it's not really the proper image for bounce. Here we go. I'm going to go back to repeat. I could, if I wanted to, slow this down. And then I could adjust my crossfade. It's 1/4 of a second. You can see the colors, green, this kind of aqua green matches up with the crossfade. I could adjust it here if I want to fine tune it. I can change my fade, my crossfade, which crossfades from the right side of the video to the left. And on the left side, we see this eye bar here. That is purple, and we match it up to the delay. It's very smart of them to color coordinate this. I could actually incorporate a couple seconds of delay. We can see it's now a frozen image, and then it starts to move, and it becomes frozen again, and that is represented by this purple area here. I don't want to add the element of surprise with this. And I actually just want to be a loop, and I don't want to keep the eye in there. It's kind of bothering me. So I'm going to go back to my mask tool. I'm going to click to erase. I'm going to make the brush larger. And in case you're wondering why I do that, how I'm doing that, you can either grab the slider, and if you leave the mouse over there, obviously it says brush size, or the pluses and minus keys will do the trick. And I'm just going to repaint that back in. Okay, looks pretty good. Back to loop. I'm happy with the way it looks. Now, if I wanted to further adjust, these are some really handy tools in here. You can change the color temperature. Maybe I didn't get the color temperature I wanted, or I can utilize a creative effect, kind of cool tone it, can add a crazy tint. But I'm pretty happy the way I shot it. I use a Lumix system to capture my animated portrait. So I actually shot this with a GH3. And in that camera, I can make the majority of my adjustments in camera, which makes life a lot easier. So I'm pretty much not going to mess with any of these. Typically, what I will do is I may, if I add anything, I could add a vignette. But, I'm really not, I may want to add it for some images, but for this one, I'm not going to. I'm just going to make sure I reset that. There we go. So I'm pretty happy with the way this looks. If I wanted to, quickly, I could add a variety of filters. Cross process looks kind of cool. But I typically am pretty satisfied with these. Now, there's actually one down here that I kind of like. These two down here. There's Flixelate and Flixelate Inverse. Okay, now those look, I don't care for them as far as the aesthetics personally, but these are really handy filters to use as tools. Here's why. If I render this out with either or, okay, maybe I want my black and white to represent the still portion and the video portion is represented in full color. Just by clicking on this without doing anything, I can quickly see my mask without the purple overlay, and I can kind of see there's a little bit of drift. Okay, so if I needed to maybe render this out quickly and examine it further in Premiere Pro or another type of app, it's just, for me, it's a handy visualization tool. Since I'm happy with everything like this, I'm good to go. I'm gonna leave it as is. From this part, I typically do two things. First thing I'll do is upload it to the Flixel cloud. I can share it on Twitter or Facebook. I'm not gonna do either. I can hit cancel. And I can render that on put that up to the cloud. I don't believe I have this one yet. I've not made this one, but we can see here's my Flixel account, flixel.com/G Sciorio. And we can see I got a variety of images here. And it'll live here. And then from this point, if I click on it, I have an embed code. I can embed it in my portfolio site. I can share it on various socials. And the nice thing is, once I get it up here, if I wanted to go into my edit, I can actually re-upload a new file. I can make it private. I can add a watermark. These are very handy tools. What I like about this, and I'm sidetracking here, but I got to tell you, this is so powerful. And this is one thing you don't get with any other service. I love this because, for instance, maybe I send this over to Mitch Stone. Now, Mitch Stone is pretty good on paying his photographers on time and everything, so I'm not worried about it. But if Mitch Stone wasn't Mitch Stone, if it was some dude that was trying, maybe there's a client that has changed their mind. They're like, hey, you know what? My license is expired 6 months later. I don't think I want to renew. Hey, no problem. I'm going to put this to private. I'm going to hit save. And guess what? Wherever this image was embedded, it is no longer embedded. Boom. That puts the power back in the hands of the photographer, because you cannot right click. You can save the page, but there's no way to pull in this file. Okay, so that's really, really powerful. I really wanted to emphasize the power of the Flixel cloud. The software is one portion of it, but boy, I tell you what, having a place where I could show it online, and yes, this is video-based, and as I showed earlier with QuickTime, you can see the play pause head. You don't see that here. I'm mousing over, I'm clicking it, you don't see it. Beautiful. Anyways, so now at this point, then what I would do is I'll render. You can render in various ways. Animated GIF. Animated GIF's good for email campaigns. Maybe you can message it to somebody using Apple's Messenger app. And so it's good. But the thing is, this has millions of colors because I shot it in video. And all the beautiful colors that my GH3 captured will be gone if I render as a GIF. So I only render as a GIF. I render as a GIF. I render everything as a GIF, but I only use GIFs in places where the video cannot be embedded. Typically, I'll render out an Apple ProRes 422. That is the highest. ProRes is a little higher quality, but these two are, oh boy, it's so hard to tell the difference. But you will tell the difference in file size, significantly smaller. So I can render that out. We can see here with the repetitions, I usually ignore this. If I'm rendering out as a master frame, I don't want quarter size, I want full size. Rendering this out, how many repetitions I want. It's beautiful. It actually repeats the loop as it renders. I mean, this is great. Otherwise, so here, do 20 seconds. I usually do 30 seconds per piece. Okay, just tonight, if I want to bring it into Premiere and do fade in and fade outs. Thing is, if I only had one loop, it's 2 seconds. That means I got to copy and paste and copy and paste and copy and paste in the timeline. Not good. It's time consuming. If I add this for 30 seconds, okay, now I got a 30-second video. I'm going to hit next, and I'm going to save this as, let's do this. Let me just go back, and I'll save it in the same place. It's P102066, all caps, final, because that means I'm done with this image, and the P was caps. I'll render it out. Rendering. Now watch. It's done. We'll go back. Final. And here it is playing in. That is it. It's gorgeous. It's done. I'm happy with it. It looks great. So now I got a 30-second video from here. Now from here, I can send it to my iCloud Drive, and I can bring it from there. I can bring, or Dropbox, I can bring it right into Instagram, make a looping animated portrait on my Instagram account. You can see a variety of these. I can throw them up anywhere that utilizes video, because this is a photograph, but it's video based. But I'm not going to put it on Instagram. I want to take some of these finals and bring them into Creative Cloud, okay, into, Premiere. So since, we're getting down to 10 minutes, I'm going to do a quick video. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to quit out of Cinemagraph Pro. Actually, I'll just close out of this particular one. Let's go back to Lightroom. I'm going to move extra fast now. I'm going to re-import. I'm going to import the final into Lightroom. You can either drag and drop, or I could just synchronize by clicking on all photographs, right click. Oops, sorry. My media file, right click, synchronize. I don't want to do that though. I just want to bring that in just so I have it with me. Drag and drop. See, it's right there. I trust it. Trust you, Lightroom. I trust you. Here it is. Since I know it's finished, I'm going to hit flag. Maybe I'm going to give it 5 stars, and why not? Let's just go crazy and give it a red color label, because red is my favorite color. Actually, another quick tip. Usually what I'll do is I will have green often means go. That means it's ready to be worked on. If I set it to yellow, that means it's in progress. That means I'm working on it. So do not touch it. And then once I'm done, I hit red, just like a stoplight. Green means go, yellow means caution. It's being worked on. If you mess with it, you may get into an accident. And then red means it's done. So it's red. I am not going to touch it anymore. Let's go back into my collections. We're going to filter by flagged. I'm going to start hustling here. So here we go. So we got 30 seconds for this one. You can see a lot of these are red. 30 seconds for this one. This is looking good. Looking good. Looking good. 17 seconds. Let's see. Oh, that's the actual capture. What am I doing here is, so you can see this one here is 37 seconds and this one's 28 seconds. Not all of the videos will render out at a perfect 30 seconds. I try to get it close. Okay, so that one, those 3 are good. Why don't we use those 3? Oh, wait, how much time do I got? 10 minutes. Can we do this one in 10 minutes? I really want to include this one. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So I'm going to right click, show in Finder. I'm so glad I drank a liter of coffee. And we're going to go to Cinemagraph Pro, new. Can drag this over. This is how I normally work, okay? It's like this. I'm going to go fast. Do I want to replace it? Oh, let's see. Did I already start making one? Let's replace it. Let's just call it edit 1. You can see it just made it right here. I'm telling you, if you're making cinemagraphs and Photoshop, I love Photoshop. I've been using it since '93. There is no making cinemagraphs quickly in Photoshop. You can make it. It's just, you know, but using it together, man, I'm telling you, this is the way to go. This is the way to go. So look at that. There it is. See if we got a little drift. I just need a few seconds because the only thing I want to show are some of these lights moving. You can see that she's drifting a little because we have a jump. See that? So we're just going to pull this back. Hey, that looks good. Quickly go over to mask. Live masking technology is rocking. Because she's so steady, I don't really need to worry about the hand. The hand's drifting a little bit. Okay, so we're going to, let's be gentle. Let's change the opacity, make it soft, edged brush. We're going to have to do a little finger painting. This will work with the Wacom if you have it. I'm not quite sure if it's pressure sensitive, again, because I'm using the trackpad. But it's fun like this. I'm like basically finger painting animated portraits. If you have the Cinemagraph Pro app on iOS, it's great to do this technique as well. I've found that it's good to basically use as a rapid prototyping in the field type of work. Maybe I want to quickly deliver something on Instagram while I'm shooting. So I'll Wi-Fi a MP4 from my Lumix G camera over to my iPhone, and out it goes. And in fact, on my Flixel account, you will see, got a little weird shadow action here. You'll see some of those. Hey, look at that. It looks looking good. Does this blink? Oh, wow. It's great. Great. So her face is looking kind of dark, isn't it? Or kind of light. Let's export to still image. Oh, we're running out of time. We're going to do the P. What is this? Something 49. 49. This is like one of those video games. Master frame. Gonna export. Boom. There it is, master frame. We're gonna right click on that, open with Photoshop, or drag and drop into Photoshop. There it is. Quickly add a curve to it. We're going to zoom in. This is not a 4K file. If it was, we'd see a lot more detail. I'm gonna click on a hand, as I showed earlier. Click on a face, drag it down, it looks great. And now what we're gonna do is click on my mask layer. I'm gonna flip it, I'm gonna reverse it. It's Command I, boom, becomes black, reveals everything. I just want to darken her face, and I'm got white for my color, and I'm gonna look at that. Yes. That's styling and profiling at the same time. I'm gonna pull that down a little bit. There we go. Now, save as PNG, master frame, final, because I'm happy with it. I don't even know what that is. I'm just gonna one says fast. I usually do fast because I usually work at this kind of crazy pace. Now check it. See the difference? Look at that. Boom. Retouched video. How is that? It's insane. But now we're going to import this into import. And let's go back to, this is the one, and we're going to drag that in there. Watch her face. Her face is going to be right here. Keep your eye on that area. Watch. What? Done. Now we're going to render this out. I'm going to leave it all as is. You know what? It's looking kind of fast, isn't it? Let's do a little slow-mo. Uh-oh, getting close to the time. Getting close. All right, if you got questions, shoot away, and I'll answer them as quickly as possible. Next time I need, I think, a couple hours to do this. Render this out. I really wish it would keep the name the same. It does not. That's okay. P1020049-edit-final. Rendered. All right, great. We are now done with this. Save. Close. And look at that. Now we're going to take this, go over to Lightroom, drag and drop. Boom. As soon as this import turns not dark, we'll import it. There it is. 5, pick, right click, color label red. And there we go. Go up to here. We're going to do flagged. We're going to take this one. She's done. This one I did already, I believe. Let's see. No, that's the actual file. We'll leave that alone for now. We'll do this one. I think, is that one moving? Yeah, that's okay. So here's our final. There's our final. We'll take those two. Let's just take those. Let's just take them into Premiere Pro. So I launched Premiere Pro already. I'm just going to hit New Project. Oops. Flixel rocks. Where are we going to save this? We're going to save this in here. Flixel. Okay. So I think that is on my desktop. It is. No worries. So we're here in Lightroom. Now here's something that I do all the time. Premiere Pro is rad, but you know what? It's video for video people, for filmmakers. It's not made for photographers. But using Lightroom and Premiere Pro together, you kind of muscle it. I'm going to grab the ones I like. I'm going to drag and drop over where it says import media to start. Look at that. It's importing my files. Now, I'm going to take, oops, they were actually already selected. I'm going to drag these down to a new document. Look at that. Boom. There's one. It's 30 seconds. There's two. I think it's a little too much. Oh, I'm kind of sloppy with this, but you know, whatever. Okay, there we go. Maybe I have some music chosen. And let's go back out. I know I got music somewhere. Take some music. Just going to drag and drop that in there. We got a little video going. And then from here, you add your fades, whatever you would like. And you know what I'm going to do. I think we're going over time here. We're going to go over time. Look out. I'm going to take my logo, drop that in at the end. And logo at the front. I know there's shortcuts to this stuff, but I am not a Premiere Pro expert. I am an artist that's a little dangerous when it comes to Creative Cloud, to tell you the truth. And now we've got, let's zoom in. Sorry, going fast on this stuff, but I'm going to mute this for now. Logo, video, video. And there's my end. I'm going to go in effects. I'm going to do crossfade or dissolve, I think it is. Actually, it's cross dissolve. Pardon me. There's one. Oh, that's not letting me do it. So anyways, there's two. There's three. Look at that. Boom. And now I've got a little video. If I want to go even crazier, let's keep this even shorter. I'm going to make this, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make this for Instagram. I'm going to throw it up on Dig. It's Instagram. Look for me, Giulio Sciorio or G Sciorio if you can spell it. That's awesome. We'll do a quickie, real quick. In fact, not even going to show music. There's one, two. It's not actually crossfading it. Something's up. I don't know. There we go. And now we've got, there it is. Look at that. Boom. Ready for a quick little online advertisement. This will be on Instagram, oh gosh, here in a few minutes. Anyways, I'm Giulio Sciorio for Small Camera, Big Picture. Thank you so much. This went by way too fast. If you want 10% off Flixel Cinemagraph Pro, use Small Camera. That is your discount code. And feel free to hand that out like candy because I believe that will stay active for a while. If you're more interested in learning about this stuff, just Google me. You will see me in all sorts of cool places, Photo Plus and whatnot. Anyways, looks like we are good to go. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.